There we go. Okay, continue.
Okay, so it's communication is one of the first well, it's the first thing about a human relationship. Communication is the first thing. Um, and getting some sort of boundaries or that sort of thing, describing that to each other, I think is really important because there's your starting place. It's your common ground. It's right. And from there you can build trust. Like
Absolutely.
respect is tied in with communication, and it's so
Yeah,
and that communication is a two-way street. And
absolutely.
communication isn't just verbal
No, it's body
either.
language. It's body language.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
there's so much more entwined in that space.
Yeah, but I would also say that, and I think this is the bit that people forget or don't acknowledge, that communication, hand in hand with communication, is active listening.
Mm,
They're both entwined. That's
100%.
really important. So it's the first thing to a relationship is the things we described. Yeah. Communication, active listening, and setting some boundaries, I
It's like
suppose.
this. It's like this. So there's a portion. I don't know who I was speaking to last night, but
Mm,
I spoke to them. I said, look, in communications, like say if you came home, I was a stay at home, whatever. I'm doing my coaching, whatever. And
yeah.
this person came home. I said, okay, and how's your day? Do you need do you need someone to listen, some feedback, or do you need a hug?
I love it.
How simple can that make somebody's day at the end of it? It makes them seen, heard, and felt if they want whatever they want.
Absolutely.
And
Um,
I don't know where I picked that up from, but yeah, I love it.
yeah, I do too. You have to say that again. Say those three things again.
So it's, do you just need me to listen to you?
Yep.
Do you need the critical feedback or the feedback on something that it's happened? Or do
Yep.
you just need a hug?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. See, I think what in modern relationships, David, and I think because tied in with this is the intimacy that you have with another human being,
Absolutely.
right? And it's how you create it,
Yeah.
right?
And that's
And
through and that's through trust.
yes, and it's a combination of those things. But the thing is, with modern relationships and where where people have, well, let's just put it this way: intimacy is a basic human need, right?
Hmm. It's
Now,
like number 3 or 4 on the list.
yeah, like when we're talking about intimacy, we're not necessarily talking about sex.
No, it's not sex.
It's
It's a human connection that we're talking about.
correct. And people, what's happened in especially in the modern day is that we forget the intimacy thing. So you picking up like covering on hugging or whatever else, that's and also communication, all that sort of stuff. That is an intimate, that's how you start your intimacy in terms of your relationship. So
Yes.
it's really important because I think from that's all your connection. And then
Mm,
from there you can, explore lots of different things about one another and develop
absolutely.
your relationship. And the way I've always looked at it when with relationships,
Yeah.
like that, the way
Mm,
I've always looked at it is it's the relationship is the most important aspect of it, right?
mm.
And so I make that a priority, but also I think that it's a matter of discussing with the other person, discussing that with the other person, right?
Hmm.
In a relationship, so in other words, your friendship,
Mm.
right? That friendship part of and the respect for that friendship and the respect for the other person that they are investing in it as well. And the other thing is that I think it's really important is acknowledging that if you do progress in your relationship, that
Hmm.
it's no longer just about you, it's about us. It's a whole, it's two that become, right? Because
Yes.
it's one
Though
relationship.
Yeah, the relationship is an entity in itself, but to
Yes,
have that relationship, you still have to have yourself accountable for yourself. I think
absolutely.
that's where people fall over. They keep then going to blaming other people,
Yeah,
the other person for their transgressions, when it's actually probably them that's they're transgressing on themselves. They're either crossing their boundaries or they're crossing something else that is not aligning with who they are
mm,
truly. This comes
mm,
back to the core of who we are
hmm,
and our ability to look after ourselves. We can discuss our needs and our wants and our boundaries,
yeah,
but we have to meet them ourselves
yeah, that's
first.
right.
Like, and this other person, they who is invested in us, they need to know how they can help us. And that's where it all ties back to communication and listening and ability to do that.
Yeah, I think the other thing, the reason I made a point on that is because I totally agree with what you've said, and
Mm.
that, and particularly that you need to keep your individuality,
Absolutely.
right, in within a relationship. Sometimes people get in a relationship and they'll try and change themselves to be everything that they think the other person
Person
wants, and that
wants,
might not be,
yes.
because when we often when people and this I've seen this a lot, people will criticize another person or try to blame another
Mm.
person for something, but there could be a number of things that's going on there. One is sometimes people verbalize what is their own insecurity, right,
Yeah.
or their own issue, and they're projecting that out onto you, but it's actually something that's in them that's disturbing them, right? It's a funny thing that humans do.
Oh
We
yeah.
often put that out there without realizing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, that's the whole premise of when we don't like something about somebody. It's based on the fact that if we're saying I don't like you, it's
yeah,
it's something I don't like about myself.
quite often. And the
Yeah.
other the other thing is, I wanted to add that the reason I mentioned the relationship becoming, like, if you like, an entity of its
Hmm.
own, is because I think that if you respect it as that, you both realize that you're both investing your time, effort, and energy into that. So
Hmm.
pretend it was like a business,
Hmm.
right? You're
Hmm.
both putting your energy into this,
Yep.
the business of the relationship, right?
Hmm.
And so I think that that helps if you can establish that, okay, well, this is something that, like, if you treat it like a third thing, right? This is
Hmm.
something that we're both investing in and creating, and we need to work together
Hmm.
to make that what we would like it to be, and to
Hmm.
evolve it and develop it,
Mm.
if that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
for me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
describe it, but
Yeah.
I've tried to describe it that way, because, and especially because if you come up when you're having an argument or something, right, you can go, hang on, we're breaking the code. What were the rules of engagement, right? Do you know
I
what I'm
love
saying?
it.
So within the
Yeah, I
relationship,
love
that's what
it.
I'm talking about, rules of engagement,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And if
Rules of
you have
engagement.
made an agreement for, okay, so you still got your individuality, but this
Yep.
is the rules of engagement for our, right, for our
Yes.
relationship.
I think everybody should have a rules of engagement, how to
Absolutely.
do your disagreements or whatever. There should be a written
Yep,
code of agreement,
absolutely.
to do that. How to argue properly.
Yes, because yes. I think we missed that bit. And then
Absolutely, because we
we
get no,
start off in a
because here we
relationship.
go. Here we go. It ties back. So let's bring it back to coaching for a second.
Yeah,
In that spot there where we're arguing,
yeah.
we have the pause, and that stops our frontal cortex getting out of alignment and going into dysfunction. When we go into an argument, we do dysfunctional things. We get hot-headed, we get heated up, we get frustrated with other person because we're not listening, we lose all control. And this comes back to, if we are getting into those states, then we have to disengage from that, because it's not going to lead anywhere good.
I think the key, sorry, did
Does
I
it?
go?
Yeah,
Right, the
go.
key I think is, again, that's why it's really important for the rules of engagement. So you need to come up with an agreement. So, because in that moment, that's right, when you're when your body's charging with emotions and
Yeah.
right, and you're feeling that, like, people miss the pause,
I
David.
know, right?
And
And
I
it
don't
doesn't keep
worry,
their
I've done
brain.
it.
Yeah, the
You've-
brain doesn't allow that.
So what I've come up with in particular, in this whatever, I came up with strategy ages ago that, right, if and it applies, you got to make the rule apply to both people.
Hmm. Yeah,
It's got to be
yeah,
an
yeah.
agreement, right? Right, this is what we're going to do. So one simple thing um that I've used in relationships with somebody who, yeah, just really had no stop, right? Would just fly, right? Was stop, time out. And that meant both of us needed to do that. When we
Mm.
said, well, it was you, to be honest, it was usually me. Stop, time out, right? And you go away into another room or whatever, you go and do something else and you come back to it later. And by that stage, you've those charged emotions and all that stuff has, passed. Or
Mm.
or let's just put it this way, you don't approach that conversation again until both of you are in the right space, right? Until you're
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So
To have a conversation
yeah, yeah.
about what's going on, because nobody's going to take any notice of what is being said in an argument, and they will most definitely say something they will regret later.
Oh, like yeah, that's right. You got to be, we've got to, you can, and the problem is words have power, and
Mm.
you've got to be mindful of the fact that, you could say something that actually injures somebody deeply.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
you want to try and avoid that. Now, at the same time, David, though, one of the really critical things about relationships is forgiving one another, forgive quickly, right?
Oh, yes.
Because, right, that's just really a critical point. And like I've been in I've and it's and the other thing, David, is consistency. So I've been in
Hmm.
the situation where somebody's raised something that happened like several years ago, and I said, you know what, that that I don't, I'm not even going to discuss it with you, right? I'm just not even going to go there, right?
Well,
Obviously,
this is,
you're
yeah.
upset about something, but if there was something that wasn't addressed, you feel that wasn't addressed, by all means, talk to me and tell me what that is. But we've both, in effect, we've both moved on from that ages ago, and I'm not going to go there. So that's part of the rules of engagement, is lowering yourself to it.
Understanding, yeah, that you deal with it once and then you don't bring it up again.
If you've
It
resolved
can't,
it,
yeah, if you've resolved it, yeah, 100%. It cannot be brought back up again in a later
yeah,
date. Part of your hurt locker, part of
yeah,
your war chest, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
You cannot bring that back up again if it has been dealt with, successfully dealt with, and you've seen the change in that person. If it's a problem that you've seen, that if that problem doesn't get resolved, then yes, okay, we are talking a different matter here. But
mm,
if the problem has been resolved, the
yeah,
action has been changed,
yeah,
then yes,
that's
we
right.
move on. It cannot be brought back up.
No. And I mean, it's like, I think a relationship is like training for the Olympic race of your life, right? If you want to be an athlete, right, you've got to train.
You do. And
Okay.
not only that, but you need the help of coaches and counselors and physicians and people to get your mindset ready for that relationship.
Yeah. So the way I look at a relationship is, it's because everyone has their down moments or somewhere where they stuff up something. We're human,
Yes.
we're going to make mistakes. We can have these sort of ideas of the rules of engagement there, but it doesn't mean we're not going to make a mistake. And we need to, basically, what a relationship is it's another human being who's sharing the life journey with you. And the idea is that you're supposed to support one another. And when one's down, the other ones can help,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, relationships like that are really important, and it's important
Mm.
to not take that for granted,
No, exactly.
right?
We
And that,
talk about the rules that are around it, and then you've got, we had the once upon a time soft skills, but now they're hard skills because people don't know how to use them properly. We're talking compassion, empathy, respect, kindness.
Absolutely.
They are now hard skills in the world today
Yeah.
because people lack them.
Oh,
That's
big
why
time.
they hard. That's why they're hard skills
Oh, look,
because pe-
this is why,
people
David, I
lack
started.
them.
Oh, absolutely. And this is why um I started to write some of those articles and things. And
Yeah.
you look at LinkedIn and wherever you go, and people are talking about those same things. And we, I mean, this is our evolution. This
Mm.
is really important. Like it's the those things that you've just mentioned, that soft skills that have become hard skills. That's the reason why even the planet is being affected. It's
Yeah.
because, right? So it's critical that we develop those skills. And some of the biggest disasters that have happened on the planet came down to just communication.
Everything's communication.
Chernobyl, that was communication,
Yeah.
things like that. But yeah, I think we need to learn like the, and I want to say that if you are having an argument, this and that, it's also a trusted place to be,
Mm.
right? Like if somebody's reacting and carrying on and says some terrible things and this and that, like you can't necessarily control what someone else is doing, but have you can control with practice, but potentially your reaction to it. So
Mm.
that's what we need to learn. We need to learn what are our triggers. We need to learn the stop and time out. And then um, again, you go back to communication, because then, okay, how do I then start a conversation without, attacking the other person for what they've said and done? That's where empathy comes in.
Because yeah, when you talk about the problems, you can't say you did this. It's about I feel this way because I have a problem with something that happened, but it's on me. It's my own triggers. Whatever happened, whatever problem you are seeing, I'm owning that because it's my trigger.
Yes, yeah, I get it. Spot on. That's
It's
really,
it's it's
really
my me it's
mature.
it's my meaning. Here we go. It's my meaning that I put behind it.
Yeah, that's right.
So that should nullify every argument out there. It's take ownership of your own stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And also I guess the beauty of the positive side of things is if you feel a reaction or whatever in yourself, okay, first of all, okay, there's a care factor, but also is to question, is there any underlying issues in myself that I need to address? So you're spot on correct. And but these sorts of things that we're talking about, people they don't
No, they don't.
understand,
No, they
right?
don't. That's why
Whereas
we're talking about
exactly.
it.
Whereas I try to use anything that what supposedly is negative. I try to take something out away from it. What can I
Yeah.
learn from this?
What can
What,
I learn from it?
yeah,
How can I
that's,
serve the other person and myself better without, do I need to listen to why that's there? Do I need to listen
yeah.
to the emotion? Do I need to feel the emotion? Do I need to listen to it? Do I need to ask why it's here?
Mm,
What can I do to make you better and move forward in my life? Whether that be fear, sadness, grief,
yeah.
all those negative things have to be dealt with at a human level.
Yeah. And I want to say this is one of the most really, one thing that's really important that we don't generally do is ask the other person for help,
Oh, absolutely.
right? I know, okay, I'm struggling with XYZ, right? I might drop the ball with this. Can you help me with that?
Yes.
Right? We don't ask the other person. We expect that the other person is going to know what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what our perceptions are. And that's not
Stop
necessarily the
it.
case.
Stop it. We need to communicate about it. We need to talk about it. That's why communication exists.
Exactly. But like it'd be like, I don't know, like you need to be able to, and it's hard. If you feel
Oh,
if you feel like there's something in you that you don't necessarily like, and you sort of used to hiding that away from the outside world, or that's what you think, right? It is hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to humble yourself and go, you know what, there's something I want to improve about myself, and but I do need a bit of help with it. Can you help me? And you
Mm.
know what? The fact that you just do that, it inspires compassion. Not with everyone, right? But
No, but
generally it will inspire compassion and an empathy from the other person. And they go, wow, they feel like you've given them the greatest deal of respect
mm,
and trust, right? It's reciprocal.
yes,
So yeah, another thing I thought I'd just add in there. I think it's, yeah, pretty
spot on.
important.
That's amazing. All right.
But in part, just lastly on relationships,
Yep.
I the way that I've described it to people also is that don't think that it's a fixed thing. It's something that I think this successful relationships work because part of the thing is that over time, David, and you know, in the short time that we've been working together, right? How much have we grown and developed and
Yeah,
the time frame?
100%.
So what I'm saying in it is what people sometimes they're under the illusion, okay, what they see is what they get, and that's it. They've done all the hard work up front, and that's it. It's game over. Listen, we evolve, we
100% we
change.
do.
So we need to. This is why, for example, date night. All right,
Oh, date nights are
it's
so
really
important.
important
So
because
important.
you you know like you're both busy during the week or something, and you're running around doing XYZ, but you need to take the time
Yeah.
out for one another.
So we're
And
going to lay kudos to this to Jordan Peterson who rehashed this up. So he said you need at least 1 to 2 date nights a week
yeah,
and a 90-minute session on a Sunday to outline the plans for the following week and bring up any grievances from the previous week.
that's a pretty good idea.
How cool is that?
Oh, one thing I will add, right?
Yep.
That is very good, by the way.
Yep.
That is, I love it. Sorry, I should pause, but I want to add one thing
Go for it.
that my, you know, I told you about my uncle and auntie. My uncle was
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in the
Yeah.
in the television industry.
Yeah.
Well, my auntie, who was also my godmother,
Mm-hmm.
because they were such a happy couple.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah,
they
yeah.
were married for right. And I said, well, how do you do it? What's the
Yeah, what's the
secret?
key? Sure.
Well, she said, always make love and never go to bed angry.
Yeah, I love that. What a great way to end
Yeah.
this. Never go to bed
And
angry. I love that.
never go to bed angry because what happens, right? You wake up and you're right
Yeah.
somewhere inside you because you're subconscious, right? While you're asleep.
Oh, it's working
No, 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 no,
overtime.
no, no.
But now I'm going to leave that. We're going to leave that one for that one. So what a great way to end it. Don't go to bed angry, and we'll leave it there.